Hi, it's Norman Kochnick here from Extra Time. We've just watched the third encounter of the IPL here in 2021 with the likes of Kolkata Knight Riders versus Sunrisers Hyderabad. And it was a game that was reasonably high score, but it was quite a somewhat underwhelming compared to the last two matches in terms of the match, but it still showed very clearly that Kolkata Knight Riders are very clinical about their performance, and Sunrisers and Hyderabad have got a bit of work to do. Anyway, this is our great post review, and we have two lovely guests here presently. Firstly, Debasha Sen, how are you from Extra Time?
Fine, Norman.
And we have Dipti there. Now, Dipti is the Bharat Army representative from Hyderabad. Unfortunately, hello. Unfortunately, Dipti, Hyderabad didn't win, so I'm afraid I can't make you too happy to start with. But we'll try. The reality is it still was a very close game. I was very impressed with Kolkata Knight Riders. They did what they needed to do to win. Owen Morgan, who's the captain, yet again hasn't been scoring many runs of late. He's been quite disappointing, but his captaincy is on point. He knows his troops. He has a very good bowling attack. The likes of Natarajan I thought was particularly good. Nabi and Rashid Khan. What can we say? Impossible to pick. 4 overs, 2 for 24. Great control. They tried very hard to get onto him, but they simply couldn't. It was Andre. The fact is, it was a very unfortunate to have that man bowling Rashid Khan. A team with Rashid Khan is always going to be difficult. Okay, let's get your perspective, Debasha. What's your thoughts on the game?
Norman, to start with, I would say that Knight Riders, as you rightly pointed out at the beginning, they were very clinical and they had a great start. First up, obviously, Gill and Rana getting them to almost 50 in the power play, and then the partnership that almost gave them the platform to build a big partnership was the one between Tripathi and Rana. They almost scored 93 runs, but then there was a slight dip, so as to say. Obviously, Rashid and Nabi picking two wickets each, and they pulled back somehow. So one would have thought that Knight Riders, the way they start, were still a little 10 runs short, but at the end it didn't prove so, because they kept on picking the wickets of Sunrisers Hyderabad wicket, and eventually it was a clinical performance, I would say.
Yeah, that's my opinion. The reality is that Kolkata Knight Riders really should have went on with it and should have scored more than 200. They had a very sound start. And as I always say, and all the viewers will hear this, the top 3 batters are the most important batters in the team. They must get off to a good start to make a good fist of it. And they need finishers, yes. But without a top 3 starting point, you are going to be behind the 8 ball somewhat. So, yeah, but the reality is that Rashid Khan is still a factor. They didn't win with him today, but he's still a major factor. Riddham Saha, I'm sorry, I'm still a bit... He played one good shot, but I don't get why they didn't open with Bairstow. Bairstow ended up getting 55. He hit a number of sixes. Had he opened, he would have made a bit of a difference in Sunrisers. Hyderabad's game. Anyway, Dipti, your thoughts. Please let us know what you think of today's game.
From KKR's point of view, I think it was key that the number 3 batsman Rahul, who stepped in, also held the momentum and kept it going forward. That is where he didn't take in time to settle down, and because of that, the momentum kept on going, and Sunrisers felt it difficult to break them. Rashid came in and took the first wicket, and then that kind of it tried to do a bit, but then still I think Rahul performed very well for them alongside Rana. And coming to SRH point in their batting, I think Saha wasn't probably necessary because we already had a batsman, a wicket keeper in the form of Bairstow. We could have played someone like an Abhishek, who he could have opened alongside Warner. And I think the reason for pushing Bairstow down is the one problem with SRH is once the top order is gone, it's like a very top heavy team. So once the top order is gone, in the middle or lower side, it feels weak. So just because we had Bairstow today in at 4, I think our the wickets didn't fall. So I mean, didn't fall continuously. There was some sort of runs happening between Manish, and even Manish stepped up. That is really a good sight to watch. He When he performs at number, see, like just like Debashish mentioned, number 3 is the most crucial place, and same he stepped in today for SRH and he also performed well. So I think that was also a good thing. So the only probably change they could make in is Bairstow could take over the gloves, and in the as a second opener, someone like Abhishek, or even I think even Priyam Garg, but whoever is performing better in practice matches can step up there. That is what I feel.
Very well said, Dipti. Very well said. Yeah, look, I think we talked in the pre-show with Nikhil Naz and Brad Hogg about the whole Rudiman Saha positioning of batting. I'm sorry, I'm not going to compare to previous seasons, but on the basis of what I know this season from his time, I don't think he's the opening batting solution at all. And I think you might say they're a bit top heavy. You might say that they should not have all their batters up front. But actually in a game of 20 overs, the team should be able to literally bat with their top 3 batters. If they are a good enough side, the top 3 batters should carry the whole 20 overs. So I'm a little bit loath to keep talking about my thoughts about having a guy down the order who can finish. Well, really, the openers can finish. They really should be good enough to finish. The bowling.
Yeah, right.
Bowling, I don't comprehend the need to be, maybe in a 50-over match, I would get that more. But a 20-over match, the opener should be finishing.
Yeah, I would say, so Norman, when you were chasing 188, you need a good start, which was not the case with Sunrisers Hyderabad. They were always chasing the game. They were always chasing. Means right from the start, David Warner, you saw Pat Cummins dropping that catch, and then immediately in the next over, he got out, and then Shakib coming and picking the wicket off Riddhiman Saha, the first ball. What's the point of playing the opening with Riddhiman Saha? Obviously, he had a wonderful IPL. With due respect to him, he had a wonderful IPL opening the batting in later stages. But then you need to send in your best batsman, informed batsman, and which was Bairstow. And he proved coming in at number 4 what he can do. Means obviously when you are playing Bairstow, you shouldn't waste him playing in the middle order. Rather, you should open the batting with David Warner, because they are your 2 big power hitters, and you can easily get in a foreign player in the likes of Kane Williamson who can anchor the innings in the middle. So that was what was missing in the Sunrisers, and they were always chasing the game, because when you were chasing a score of 180 or 188 odd, you need a good start, which was not the case for Sunrisers Hyderabad.
I mean, the way that Abdul Samad batted towards the end, he's got some quality about him, but he had a nothing to win scenario, which was just too insurmountable. I keep saying this in any format, but in particular these formats, top 3 are paramount, and that's where a team like Rajasthan Royals, with Josh Butler and Ben Stokes, with those 2 opening, if they click, they're going to beat most sides. They're going to have a lot more strength than we imagine if they click. That's the only issue. Harbhajan Singh, he was refreshing. He opened the bowling, and he only bowled 1 over. I don't quite get that, because it was a very refreshing over. He almost had Warner.
But I think he was. I think maybe he was brought in. He was opened the bowling because David Warner is a left-hander, and he has tested a reasonable success against Warner. Means I think if I'm not wrong, going with the statistics, I think he has picked him 4 times before this. So I think that might be the reason, and also the fact that Harbhajan had the experience of bowling in Chennai. He has played for Chennai Super Kings for quite some time. So that might be the reason which might influence Owen Morgan to throw the ball at Harbhajan Singh and giving him the first over. That might only be the reason why he was given the ball to bowl the first over.
And the fact that Warner got out shortly after, there was no need for Harbhajan Singh to bowl any more overs. I get it. But Krishna, Shakib, Pat Cummins, Andre Russell, they all performed very well. Again, well captained, well coached. I think the game was set out very well. Andre Russell was annoyingly outside off stump. It was annoying me, but it was good bowling. Very annoying. I thought the stumps, I kept on thinking, the stumps are over here. If I was batting, I would be saying to him, hey, Andre, the stumps are over here, not over here. Bowl the stumps. That's what I would have said. I would have annoyed him back, because that annoys when bowlers do that. But anyway, it worked. I hate to say this, but I'm not impressed enough with both teams. I think KKR will probably challenge, but if Sunrise Hyderabad, if that's their best performance, they're in a bit of trouble. I must say, there's something not right. They haven't got their batting order right. It's too early to say. We know that. We get that. And Dipti, you'll get used to me talking about hunger. I didn't see any hunger in Sunrisers Hyderabad at all. So they looked very feeble. Something was off with their whole match. Even though they did okay, I mean, Rashid Khan, with a player like Rashid Khan, he's supposed to be winning more matches than losing. Good, shouldn't you, really? He's 4 overs are going to go for 20 at max and take 2 or 3 wickets.
I think
yes.
Yeah, the issue with SRH was that the fact that Bhuvi and the openers didn't click. If you look into their stats, whenever the opening bowlers, if they give in the initial wickets, that's when it goes in. But that also there was no swing at all, so that didn't help the bowlers. I think, and most of their wickets were off the track, so they came in with some different strategies which didn't work, and I think they should have changed their strategies when they noticed that it wasn't working. When you look at Prasidh Krishna and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, both are kind of on the same speed range. But if you look at the way Prasidh was bowling, he was bowling towards the stumps, and the SRH bowlers, they were bowling off the stumps, and I think it didn't work in their way. That one thing, that is what I felt. And Warner performs 99 out of 100 times. So the only time he doesn't perform, it becomes hard for the team. So if you look at it from a certain point of view, like you said, not to compare with the previous seasons, but I would want to compare here. If Warner and Besto are gone, the Sunrisers had very little chance to go forward. But today, I think we came very close. I have to give credit to Andreas, the death bowler, he did a very fabulous job in the final over, where he contained it and he defended it. So I think still with and one more problem with SRH is Rashid Khan. Rashid Khan, the batsman. I think he was sitting in the dugout. He is someone, if you see in other leagues, he bats very well. But with SRH, I don't think he's given enough opportunity to bat. And I think these are all the issues with what SRH is having. So they have to. The team was good apart from Saha, but they have to reshuffle their order. And I think. Kane Williamson should be in the game, but many would argue with me, saying that if Kane would have been in place of Bairstow, he wouldn't have given that performance or so. But I would totally disagree, because Kane is a batsman who can play any sort of innings depending on how what is the requirement. He can play the anchor role. I know today Manish was taking the anchor role, but I think still I would pick Kane Williamson. But the only reason they went with Nabi today is because of because it was Chennai, and with all that, because it's a spinners friendly pitch, and it would have been helpful if Rashid had some professional company. So Nabi, we all know, is such a great bowler. Because of that, he was picked ahead of Kane, or else it would have been Kane, Bairstow, Rashid, and Warner. Yeah, right.
Very good points. Very good points. But I must come back to what is just a point you've said about Williamson. If they're putting Bairstow against Williamson, that means like positionally, it's Bairstow or Williamson. I think then Sunrisers are in trouble because that's they can't afford to choose between the two. They're going to think about another way around this because they need to sort their opening position, and it has to be a Bairstow, in my opinion, for them to win this tournament. I mean, to play admirably, they can bat some of the second drop and do all that, but to win this tournament, they're going to need Bairstow opening with Warner. They're going to need Williamson on the side. I don't know how they're going to do that because obviously they're seeing Bairstow and Williamson being the second drop batting position full stop, and Saha being there for the whole tournament. Not going to work. All right. They've given man of the match, or I should say, politically correct, I should say player of the match. Shouldn't I? I shouldn't say man of the match. Especially because Deputy's here, I'll say player of the match. Nitish Rana was actually the player of the match. Oh, I'm getting my alarm telling me to wake up. Obviously, I'm going to, by the way, in Australia, it's not quite the same as the rest of the world. We're ahead of the time. We're hours ahead of you guys. Hence, we're waking up from the morning. Yeah. So anyway, I'm Nitish Rana. Okay, he deserved it. He got 80 off 56 balls. He was very good start. That was essentially where they won the match. I wanted to see Shubman Gill get runs. I like him. He got 15. He hit a 4 and a 6. But I want to see him bat more. Deputy, I think I've got this feeling, even though you're a Sunrise Hyderabad supporter, you've got a soft spot for Gill. Have you?
I have got a soft spot for every young player who plays for or who has a potential of playing for India, like any team. I just love the youngsters because they are the future for India, and I look up to them performing, whether it's opposite us or with us. Like for me, that's the priority. Yeah.
That's
so
very diplomatic, though. Very diplomatic. But Dipti, on your bedroom wall, you must have 560 posters of 560 players, and you can't afford to do that. Surely. You must have some favourites.
Yeah, in fair with Subham Gill is one of the most good player, but I would want him to perform because he has a lot of caliber, and I think he performs all.
Who?
Gill.
Oh, Gill. Okay.
So, yeah, right. So I think he has an on and off season. Like he plays few matches and he doesn't. I would like him to be like one of the top scorers for KKR because that would help him in sealing his position in Team India coming forward. Because I think he played very well when he was playing in the under-19s and all. So yeah, today there's this thing going on. He wanted to play Rashid Khan, but then he got out to Rashid Khan. So there was this thing going on everywhere. So that didn't seem well. Coming to Rana, I think he batted so well. And I think KKR have finally found their opening pair, and that is like they're sorted. These two can take KKR forward. And with number 3, Rahul coming in number 3, I think it is really very good. And because of that, Morgan and Andy Russ, they can bat freely because if you look before, the problem was they had to they were not getting those starts, but now that they got the start, these top three are performing well, like just like you mentioned, in a T20 series the top 3 have to perform, so the pressure on Morgan, Dinesh and Andrews, it will come a little bit down, so that would be good.
Okay, so we should actually consider it. Am I too old, or do people still put posters of cricketers on their wall? Do you do that still?
Yeah, I am a Virat Kohli and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar fan. I have a picture of them. Yeah.
Okay. Debashis, did you have a picture of me on your wall when you were younger?
Never, Norman. Means obvious. I do. I used to buy Sports Star and Sports World, where they used to have it spread out, 4-page spread out of the cricketers, and that time tennis was a bit of a craze. Means obviously Steffi Graf, the time during my time, Steffi Graf, Gabriela Sabatini, Boris Becker, and so. But then I have never sort of put posters on my wall. Means never. Mm,
Okay,
I
Dipti,
I love watching
you know
Kolkata.
what I'm going to do, Dipti? I'm going to give Tabash's a floor-to-ceiling picture of me, and I'm hoping he puts me up. What do you think? Do you agree? Say
Me or
yes, please.
Debashis?
Do send me, Norman. I
I
will.
will.
Do send me.
It'll be a rather big photo. You may need a big living room wall or something. I'm not joking. I'm serious. What are you laughing? I'm serious. I'm very serious. Now, the reality is that that's something we might even think about. We might get the Bharat Army fans to show us who they're adoring on the wall. Let's see who they. I'm sure they do. We might ask to send through to Extra Time. Bharat Army supporters, we want to see who you got on their wall. I'm expecting maybe 2 or 3 to have me. I will, if you send me your email address, I'll send you a photo.
That's it.
Just quietly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We'll add that over.
Dipti's offering, I'll have 2 on the wall immediately. I must be lucky. All right, back to the game. We've digressed. All right. I must say that I'm always a believer in who are the coaches and the captains of these teams. Now, Ricky Ponting with Delhi Capitals, very significant. Steve Fleming with CSK. I saw Trevor Bayliss there with Sunrisers Hyderabad, correct? And also they also have sorry?
Tom Moody also.
Tom Moody, yes. And they also have VVS Laxman floating around as well. Pretty heavy bench looking at this game, haven't they? Trevor Bayliss and Tom Moody, very experienced Australian coaches and also very successful. And the likes of VVS Laxman. Now, Kolkata they used to have, back in the day, they used to have the likes of Simon Kadich. Who have they got now?
Obviously, Brendan McCullum is still with the team.
Brendan McCullum?
Callis. If I'm not
Jacques
wrong.
Callis. Yeah.
Jacques Callis. See, they're important to get a bit of a feel of the team. They'll have a stamp on the team. Brendan McCullum, of course, an extremely aggressive player and captain. Jacques Callis, more of a steadier player. But I'm a bit disappointed because Trevor Bayliss, to me, would have worked out a better position for Ridham and Saha. So I'm disappointed with that. But coaches and captains are essential aspects of this team. Now we have a question here. My heavens, the writing's so small. What does it say? Why Samad came after Sankar, which is a proper batsman? Okay, and Dipti, I just want to see it from her perspective. So they're asking specifically your perspective, Dipti?
If I think that was the same question that ran in my mind, because Samad, Rashid, in this high scoring matches, I think they are comparatively better. But I have seen the Sunrisers management back Manish and Vijay, because they believe them to be. Vijay is known as a 3D player. We all know that. So the Sunrisers management have shown faith in these 2 players. Manish has picked up, and also this is one fact that I think I have known through the practice matches that SRH have had. So Vijay has performed really well in both the practice matches which SRH have. He scored 50 plus in both of them. Maybe that was a factor for him to send him in. But even my first instinct went in like Samad should be given more preference. And in fact, I think Rashid also should be given more chance to bat in SRH. That's the point I mentioned earlier.
Yes, so I think Sunrisers Hyderabad have got a bit of homework to do. They've got a bit more to go. They've got good players, but something's off. Something's not right with their team, and I'm seeing them probably finishing, in my opinion, 5th, maybe 6th. But I don't see them threatening the top 4. Kolkata Knight Riders, to me, as long as they keep their act together, are going to fill that 4th spot behind the likes of RCB, Mumbai Indians, and Delhi Capitals. Again, that's my opinion. I'm forming a very strong opinion. Haven't seen Punjab and Kings this season. Haven't seen Rajasthan Royals. We'll wait and see how they go. The only difference will be the opening partnership of the Rajasthan Royals with the likes of both Butler and Stokes. Okay. Let me have a look here. I'm going to need some very big magnifying glasses.
Should I read it out?
Yeah, you should read it out. You're younger than me.
People highly underrate Rashid, the T20 batsman. Is much better than what people perceive him to be.
Well, we agree with that, don't we? I mean,
Yeah.
Dipti already agrees with that. Debastis, I think you would agree with that too, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, he's a very underrated batsman in T20 format, and we know how destructive he can be. A couple of seasons back, if I remember very well, that in a match against KKR at Eden Gardens, he almost single-handedly won the match for the Orange Army. So, and whatever opportunity he has got for the Sunrisers, he has done well. But then I think he should have batted a little higher up the order, obviously. And you need to mention a word about Abdul Samad, because he had been a revelation last season, and we all know. And the way he hit Pat Cummins today,
Oh,
just stand and deliver,
Awesome.
just bang and just towards the mid on, and immediately one ball after later, he just stood and just straight hit over the long on fence for another six. That speaks volumes of his ability and caliber, and the big hitting he had in him. So I'm a little bit surprised that why don't you send in the young blood, because T20 is all about young cricketer. So you need to push in young blood like Abdul Samad, because they have nothing to lose. It means they have the freedom and they can just go out and there and express themselves, which was missing. And because if Sunrisers have to bounce back, obviously it is too early in the season, only the first match, but then they need to sort out their batting order first, which I highly reckon.
I think they're going to struggle, Debastis, because if they jiggle around, they can't have more than four non-Indian players. They're going to struggle. There's a couple of terms. I mean, look, you can't even talk about Abdul Samad. He shouldn't have been needed. They should have had their upper order bat better than they did. And they should have been in a position where he wasn't needed, to be really honest with you. Now, I'm hearing through a lot of media outlets the term chasing. A team chases. I get really annoyed when I hear that, because you win the toss and you elect to bat or bowl. You don't elect to chase. It's a strange term, and it implies something different than what they should. No team should be chasing a score. They should be measured and be gathering momentum and win. To chase a score, you bat under pressure. You bat sometimes hastily and not to a plan. And you do things which you would not normally do. Okay, and Abdul Samad can handle that perhaps, but that's not the way a team should approach it. And I truly think when you have that mentality, we're going to chase. No, you're going to defeat the team by batting well enough early on for the measured performance to go past the score, and that's almost the mentality of the players, and that's where I'm concerned about. The other word is hunger, and you'll hear me say hunger. I just didn't see any hunger in any. There was no desperation in the Sunrisers Hyderabad play, other than Abdul Samad's batting somewhat. Something was missing. Johnny Bairstow certainly looked good, became in too late in the innings, or came in a position where he had to, as we were saying, the word chase. And I think that's where we failed. Such a good bowling performance by Nabi and Rashid Khan, the way they brought the team back. I actually, at that point, thought, oh, if Sunrise Hyderabad get their act together, they're going to win this. I actually thought that, but it didn't end up that way at all. Kolkata Knight Riders, again, the concept of measured. They knew what they were doing. Whether they got enough to beat the top three sides, we'll wait and see. I actually like the way if you look at the timetable, or the actual table at the moment, the table itself, my prediction is going to stay that way. It'll ebb and flow, but I think we're looking at the potential future of this particular table.
But
Yes.
Norman, to me, the biggest positive for KKR in this match, I would say, is that going on to score almost 188 runs without much contribution from Andrew Russell and Owen Morgan. I think, and it was heartening for KKR fans to see Dinesh Karthik get going. Obviously, he had a horrible run last season, but it was a very good cameo towards the end. 22 runs of just 9 balls. Actually, it was his knock that gave the impetus towards 10, because KKR from over number 16 to 19, they only scored 26 runs and lost 4 wickets. So that was some sort of, they pegged them back, because after the start and after the partnership between Tripathi and Rana, they almost looked like posting a big total in the excess of 200 runs, but that was not the case because thanks to the likes of Rashid Khan and Mohammad Nabi, who pulled Sunrisers back into the game, taking 4 quick wickets. But then towards the end, that the Dinesh Karthik knock towards the end, 22 of 9 runs, I think that was very crucial. So this in T20 format, you need scores like this, 20, 30 odd runs that go a long way in helping the team out of trouble. And that was the case with Dinesh Karthik today because he gave that impetus to the Knight Riders batting.
Yeah, look, the Sunrisers Hyderabad actual bowling line on paper. Bhuvi, you got Nadarjan, Nabi, and Rashid Khan. Pretty damn good, wouldn't you say? Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And they didn't perform as well early on against KKR, but they got them back. They brought them back.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was a bit underwhelmed with the performance, to be honest. I'm sorry. Maybe the standard's been set so high with the way that the first match went with RCB and Mumbai Indians, and then Delhi Capitals they're all incredibly strong sides. Hunger. Remember the word hunger. Hunger.
But not Norman,
Okay.
you are sounding a bit too harsh. It's only the first match of
Yeah.
the season, so every cricketer goes out there to win matches for their team. So I think they have enough hunger.
Ah,
I,
Oh, come
I'll,
on, Norman.
I want
You
to
must,
pitch in and say something. So yeah, the five bat ballers that we have today, they're still the best, I think, because if you see at Bhuvi, the way he performed for against England series, you just can't. It's just one off day where he didn't play to his strengths. That's what I would say. And coming to Natranjan, we know how he performed in Aussie tour, and he was phenomenal. I think maybe there was a little bit of pressure factor here and there, and he hasn't played for a while, so he's just coming back in. So it'll take a few matches to settle in, and Sandeep and Bhuvi are like, if you look at their stats, they have most wickets. I'm not sure, but then they have most number of dot balls. Alongside, in between there is Zahir Khan, Sandeep, Zahir Khan, and Bhuvi. So they're two of the top IPL ballers. I think last season, in absence of Bhuvi, Sandeep played really well. So I would think still SRS bowling lineup is the strongest, compared. With alongside what we call Mumbai Indians, they're like a solid team. So I think it's just an off day for the bowlers, and SRH, I guess, is more dependent on their bowling. So if their bowling shines, they shine. So just because they didn't, I know that shouldn't be the strategy. We have to be overall good, and I think they are working on it. So I just wanted to say that in the defense.
I expected you to defend them as your team. I would expect you to defend them. If you sat here and listened to Ben agree with me, they'd be in trouble. Look, I get your point. It is a bit early, but fire in the belly, hunger, has got to be there in a fairly strong manner, and I'm not convinced. All right, so Natarajan, look, isn't it amazing the series that we saw in Australia? I was there. Natarajan performed well. The likes of Bhuvi in the more recent series, it's refreshing. There's so many players that are doing well for India. It really is. It's just a star-studded bunch. You haven't got Rashid Khan playing for India. You can't emigrate him there. He's off limits, okay, guys? Just to let you know. Rashid Khan being the best T20 bowler in the world, and my heavens, I couldn't pick him. I couldn't pick him when I watched it 55 times. I couldn't pick him. But yeah, all right. So there's a lot to be said about these two teams. They'll be middle-ish. They're going to find it hard to beat the best sides consistently, and that'll be the thing. We'll see how we go with future games. But the reality is the next.
And Norman, I would just like to add, because we just missed out discussing. We need to discuss the knock played by Manish Pandey. Obviously,
Yes.
he was injured and he was left out of the Indian team. But
Yeah.
then it is a very, very important IPL for Manish Pandey. Obviously, with the T20 World Cup, later in the year. So I think his performance, he would be eyeing this IPL so as to perform well, to make a case for himself in the Indian team. And I think he lacked the support from the other end, because the way he was
Absolutely.
middling the ball, he and you remember that he was the first cricketer in the history of IPL to score 100. So you cannot underestimate Manish Pandey, obviously. But then I think he lacked the support which was needed, because had he got, because Bairstow and Manish Pandey, they had a decent partnership in the middle. So had they stayed on for a few more overs, things would have been a different, but you never know. But then Manish Pandey played a great knock today.
Well, can I just say, and just take it the way I'm saying it, Manish Pandey could open. See, I don't. We have to remember, opening the batting in T20 is a very different format to 50 overall Test cricket. We know that. You don't have to be a natural opener. You can be an aggressive batter and be opening and take the team, the opposition by the scruffy and actually perform. And Manish Pandey was virtually opening today. He came in very, very early. So the differences are minimal. I think that we need to consider that. Now, Ridham Saha, the more I look at this, I know last season, but the more I look at this, what on earth was he opening the batting? What on earth? I just felt
Norman,
wrong.
Norman, you would be losing your fans in Kolkata. You are
Yeah.
you are sounding too harsh on Ridhiman
I
Saha.
am not.
Your fans in Kolkata will be upset with you and angry with you.
I am a Kolkata Knight Riders fan. I am a Kolkata fan. I have too many people in Kolkata that know I love Kolkata. I'm not knocking Ridham Saha at all, but he's a great player. That was a beautiful lofted 6 off drive, but he only got 7. I'm sorry.
And I think Manish is definitely better, like in your terms, than Saha. But I don't think he can open, because he takes in few balls to settle down, which I think if it happens at opening, I don't think it will look good. And I think it would be better if he bats at number 3, because if we look at the number of runs he made for SRH, he has made around more than 700. Now it will be more than 750 plus runs for SRH at the number 3 position. So I think that is where he suits the most. And a batsman like Kane Williamson, who plays number 3 internationally, has stepped down his number to give Manish that position. So I think he fits in right at the number 3 position itself. If Warner keeps going, I think it that would have been enough. Today he seemed little off balance, so I think that's where the issue is. But I would not agree to move Manish to as an opener. Just so to say.
You're going to be difficult to get past, I think. Dibdy, you're very tough. No, it's good. Can you read the questions? It's to me. It's about Jai Richardson, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shiren
Yeah.
Pramanik has asked you one question to Norman. What you think about Jai Richardson? It's his first time in here, so the hard odds length will not come into play, as it will be short here. What will be your suggestion?
Okay, both Jai Richardson and even Riley Meredith as well. These players perform quite admirably in Australia. And look, Jai Richardson certainly has played Test cricket. He has a certain amount of ability. He's a very, very good bowler. And he played well in the BBL, the Big Bash there in Australia. They're both commendable. Well, Jai Richardson should be inserted somehow, but he's still a little bit off being at his peak. And he needs to be exposed to the IPL. I mean, the fact that he's there in and around the team will be a great advantage. He'll get a Guernsey during the season. I think they have to wait and see a little bit, but he'll play his guts out. He'll try very hard, and a very admirable player. Great line and length. Very, very good for these conditions. So is Meredith. Meredith is probably slightly faster. Yeah, but I think they've got a long way to become Pat Cummins, I can assure you. But yeah, he's got Meredith. He'll get a chance. Plenty of games to play. All right. Now, I look at I'm just going to have a quick eye to the next game. Rajasthan Royals and Punjab Kings. We may see a team there as a bolter. I think those two teams have got a lot of spark about them. Obviously, Punjab Kings have got Chris Gale. Rajasthan Royals have got the Butlers and the the Butlers and the Stokes. That's going to be a very interesting game, actually. I've got a bit more of an interest there. And it's being played at Wankhede as well, which will probably suit their play. This match was at Chennai, which was a slightly more awkward spinning bowling wicket. So yeah, I'm interested in that game. I think that'll be exciting. Kind of get warming up to those teams. I gave them no hope early on before the start with CSK, but I've got my thoughts. They might be a bit of a bolter between them. And yeah, again, Sunrisers Hyderabad, they need Dave Warner to fire, don't they? They really need Dave Warner to fire. There's probably somewhat of a slight over-reliance on Dave Warner, but he hasn't been in great form for some time, to be really honest with you. He hasn't
Ever
been.
since he got injured, during that Australia tour, I
Yeah,
think obviously he was the problem is when you get injured and you go out of the team, then to come back into the rhythm it takes a little bit of time, if I'm not wrong. So that might be the case, but then David Warner is too good a player to bounce back, and I would hope that he very quickly bounce back to form. I could see a little bit of smile on Deepti's face, because she is also anticipating that David Warner very soon comes back to form, because that will augur well for Sunrisers. Because as a captain, he should lead from the front. That's the bottom line. Being the captain, you should lead from the front, which is the case, and he has done well. And Sunrisers Hyderabad has been the most consistent team, one of the most consistent team in the IPL. Last 5 seasons, they have qualified for the playoffs. So I think, if things doesn't go very all wrong, I think Sunrisers still have a very very good chance of making it to their sixth playoff consecutively.
yeah. I don't deny that they're a fourth, fifth team, but whether they're a first team is another thing. We know when David Warner performs, he's won an IPL before on the back of his performances when they won that year. The reality is that he is out of form now. Brad Hogg in our pre-show mentioned, and I think that is generally the case, his groin injury has become somewhat of a chronic groin injury. And when you've got a chronic injury like Jofra Archer has got with his elbow, it doesn't go away. Even though you have plenty of rest helps it subside, but it doesn't necessarily go away. Not that I'm a medical doctor here. I mean, Dr. Norman does sound good, but I'm not going to claim to be Dr. Norman. The fact is that there is something not right with his groin. His freedom of movement's not there. When you bowl close to his ribs or around that area, he's restricted. His movements are restricted, and I'm pretty sure that the injury has something to do with it. But it's not the end of the world. The man's incredible. He's lives up the road from me. In fact, if you saw my show, I actually did a report on his home as well as Pat Cummins at Bourne. Very interesting. Okay, Dipty, you're the designated reader.
Yeah, so this is something that I wanted to say myself. So last season, SRS started poorly when Warner wasn't scoring runs. When he started scoring runs, SRS started winning the last game and marched on their way to the playoffs. So direct correlation, says Sanchit. So I think I agree with that fact. And also Warner seems like even if he has one off day with SRH, everyone think that he's out of form. But last year also I wouldn't agree that he was out of form, because he has consistently scored 500 plus runs for SRH, and that is a big deal. And also this management are aware with the point that Warner is suffering from an injury, and that is where I think they have been tactically very good in signing Jason Roy as a replacement for Mitchell Marsh. And I think he would be a like to like replacement for David Warner if in case anything. I don't want anything to happen to David Warner, because we rely so much on him, not just as a batsman but as a captain as well. But we do have a backup, so I think that is something that is good. So I wanted to say that point. And coming to Warner's performance, I totally agree with what Sanchit is saying. Warner performs, and we won most of the matches where Warner has performed. So he has been the captain who leads from front, and he's one of the top scorers in the IPL. I guess let's just after Virat Kohli, which is great for an overseas player to maintain that that stability and consistency. So I think he's been great in IPL. He's one of the best overseas player in general he is, but in IPL is right on top.
Well said, Dipti. You got a future there in commentating. You look very strong. I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
And very
I mean,
knowledgeable as well.
knowledgeable as well. That's what I said.
Thank you.
But I would
Okay.
like to ask Dipti. I would like to ask Dipti: Is Moses Ondrix in that Sunrisers team? Means is
Not now, not
no,
now. He
no,
was
not
there earlier.
he was
He
there.
was one of
Okay.
the greatest fielder
But
for
then,
us.
is there a case of playing both Muhammad Nabi and Rashid Khan in that playing 11? Means
Yeah, but
both to play both Rashid and Nabi.
actually, that would be good if in Chennai pitches and Delhi where it is spin pitches because it would be good. But that would mean we have to sacrifice one of Nabi or Kane. So that's a very difficult decision to make. But then we have to make the call if you want the bowling to look strong because our paces might not win every match for us, and that would be very hard. Just like today, Bhuvi, Sandeep, Nattu, Natranjan, all are very good batsmen. Sorry, very good bowlers. So I think the spinners, Rashid needs support, and I think so. There Indian players also who can step in if we need both Kane and Besto. So we have to look into it. The playing for has always been a problem for SRH. Even in the previous season, it was very confusing. So ever since I guess the problem has started ever since Shikhar Dhawan left SRH. But Besto has been very good in 2019 for us. So and he's a very explosive batsman. We can't leave him out. It would be a very tactical and very tough decision to make on the management side. But yeah,
Okay. No, well said. Now, look, I'm looking at. We spoke before the game, Debashis, in particular with Brad Hogg and the likes of Nikhil Naz, and we had concerns over Andre Russell. Now today, within his restraints, he bowled particularly well. He played particularly all round, but he's not the same as he was. We were talking about these Debashis, the player that would work. Who's the other player who would be in the side if Andre Russell's wasn't in the side? Who would you put in the side? Debashis? We may have lost Debashis, I think there. Debashis has gone. We were talking about, again, Dipti, about the relationship of Andre Russell in the side. And there was Narayan was a possible player. I think that would be the other player that would be his counter in the team. So by no means am I saying Andre Russell should not be in the team. He's smart enough to work out the way he should play, and he's done so accordingly today. So I think that's a relevant point. Isn't it interesting to see the Bastards without any movement? It's very no.
so I could add one point. I think
Yeah.
Russell the batsman is given more importance than Russell the death bowler. He has been very good for KKR in the when he's bowling also, especially today. I think the way he conceded, he stopped those runs and he tried to defend is something that people have to look into it. So he's a really genuinely good all rounder. Previous season, due to his injury, he was in and off the playing level, and that costed KKR. That's what I feel. If he can be fit and if he's available for all the matches, that would be very great for KKR's overall balance. Because Russell is one of the best West Indies who comes in and plays awesomely in IPL as well.
Yeah, he has a lot of motivation to do so, I'm sure. He's very motivated to do so. Monetarily, there's certainly a major benefit for them this course. And with Chris Gale there playing for the Punjab Kings, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Now, I have a Twitter handle and an Instagram handle, Norman Koch, they got Norm Koch, where we're going to make sure that we get interaction happening on those platforms for extra time. And when you get a chance, Dipti, Eyes on Cricket with Norman Koch, I'm expecting you to have a look there. There's some interesting reports. We often have a lot of people on that show, which do blend. Debash's relationship with Eyes has been long-term. I've been a regular on his Extra Time platform, and it's great for platforms to get together. with Brad Hogan earlier. We were talking about the synergies of his platform, Sports Today. There's a number of great platforms out there, and we're all working towards the same cause, getting great information for our viewers. And in particular, thanks to the Bharat Army, where you're from, Dipti, has been a wonderful platform. You guys, I see all the time at the SCG and MCG in Adelaide Oval here in Australia, at Lords. Obviously, they're strongholds in England and certainly in India. It's a great force to be reckoned with. And are you missing not going to a game? Would you?
Definitely. That is something that I missed. I went for a match in Hyderabad, which happened in to December 2019. Just after that whole this COVID pandemic has happened, I have been a person who goes to every IPL in Hyderabad and support the team. So it is something that we all miss very, very much. So looking like, I hope this pandemic ends soon and we get to be in the stands. I know there was this. A thing in Ahmedabad and all, but that seemed far for me. So hoping I get more matches in Hyderabad once the things settle down.
So did you go? Well, there weren't any test matches, of course, this season, or ODIs and T20s, were there? But yeah, all right. But they were great. What did you, just quickly? What did you think of the Australian series, the matches there, especially the Gabba?
You ask, that is like one of the best matches, and I think it will be written down in history. It's a very historic win. Even after, I guess, 2-3 decades, we would be looking back to that win and how our players didn't kept their grid, and the way they batted, the way they performed, the way they won the whole series after all things going on and off the pitch. So I think it's something that we as fans are very proud. And one thing that we have to give more stress on is they didn't do it in normal circumstances. They did it. They were all the players who played for India, like most of them at least, they were coming from UAE directly, and they are all in a bubble. And for them, the 36, after a bad performance, like to get back that thing, losing their captain, I think we performed very well, and very proud of the team. The emotions in December were very high, December and January, when they won the series. The same continued, so that's something that made us more happy. And the way they performed, it's like we just want Team India to perform that way.
Well, I mean, it was I would argue, we can argue it's like a renaissance. It's a renaissance. It's a renaissance indeed, the way they played. We're trying to get DeBastis. DeBastis is joining back. We're trying to. He's obviously had a problem with the system. He'll be back very shortly. But Dipti, you've been fantastic. We have to get you on other platforms or these platforms. You know, you certainly have done very well. Your knowledge is very good. I mean, I have a lot of female content on my channel. We've got certain presenters that have come through. You should see Pretty Upala, who's actually based in California. We've got Aparna Saini, who's very heavily involved with my channel. I bring on Kritika Nadu. You heard of Kritika Nadu and Harini Rana? Do you know those people? They're from Quick Buzz, and they're very substantial female spokesperson. I actually have lots of women's cricket. I manage a lot of women's cricketers. We've got Shapali Rukod, who played for Sri Lanka for some 16 years, coming on the program. Great to have that vibrancy of your type in this, because to me, enthusiasm is very obvious there, and you've got a very good knowledge of the game, which I'm very impressed with. Just want to see. I'm trying to get very difficult when you have these glitches. DeBastis is joining. He's joining definitely. He'll be there in a matter of seconds. So, do you have an ambition to be a commentator?
It is something that I have been an RJ in my college, so that is something that I picked up from there. It is there on my list.
Did you say an RJ?
RJ, yeah, radio jockey in my college radio. That okay. Is yeah. So, honestly speaking, I've been very nervous for the show. Like literally, I've spoken to a couple of my friends, I was very nervous because I don't know, I was feeling very nervous, but now it feels good. like you made me feel comfortable here. So that is thank you to you.
The reality is that nerves are a good thing. Just know how to use them and never ever be concerned about what's on the camera. After me doing this for 30, 35 years in all different platforms, it's something that I'm very much comfortable with. Yes, but I still get nervous. I get nervous, especially when Debashis looks at me angrily. I get nervous.
Right.
No. We had Brad Hogg on earlier. You know who Brad Hogg is, of course. Played for Australia, played for KKR. Amazing fellow. He still could be playing out there in the middle if he wanted to. Great to have these people. I've been very lucky to interview some greats such as Neil Harvey. Neil Harvey, of course, played for Australia way back when. Great player. And here we have Tabasha Singh, who actually, you look younger. Did you go and do some makeup? What did you
No,
do?
extremely sorry, Norman, because internet issues, the Wi-Fi. I need to be on a LAN connection from tomorrow. Suddenly, the
Okay.
internet. Yeah. Sorry to Dipti as well.
No,
No.
Dipti, the truth is, I'll tell you the truth. He had to go and do some makeup. I think he was looking a bit shiny. He wanted some makeup. In fact, have you got lipstick on now? I think you got lipstick on. Dipti, can you see lipstick on? I think I can. All right.
Yeah, definitely.
No, definitely. See, I told you. Okay, all right. Tabasha, we were finishing up anyway with the way we were talking. I think it was an excellent period of time. Dipti's been fantastic. You've been fantastic, Tabasha. We really look forward to having these programs on a regular basis every day, pre-show, post-show, without fail. We're going to be here talking from Extra Time, a plethora of guests, the Barrett Army on a regular basis, the Brad Hoggs, the Nikhil Nazar. We've got a truckload of people. It's been fantastic. So looking forward to the next match. The next match, of course, as I said earlier, which will be on this time or tomorrow, it'll be, in fact, the Rajasthan Royals with both Ben Stokes and the likes of Butler there. I'm looking forward to the opening partnership. And then they're taking on the team that really has the strength of KL Rahul and, of course, the likes of Chris Gale, that is Punjab Kings. All right, so that's a great match. That's our next match. Stay tuned for that. This is Norman Kochnek here for Extra Time. Once again, with Debasha Sen and Dipti there, we're looking at having this program continue. And please view, like, and share, and make sure you subscribe. But more importantly, view this show. This is a worthy show of saying. So it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from our group. Talk to you soon, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Norman. And
Thank you, Norman. Thank you, Dipti.
Thank you very much, all. It's been a pleasure. Although it is